Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome, thank you so much for joining me today. In this video I'm going to be making one card. I know that's a little unusual for me, but this is a process video on a special card. The first thing I did was I went through my paint skins. I thought I had a shortage, but when I started looking I realized I did not. And paint skins, these are all from my friend Andrea paint pouring, and these are her trash. So I selected these gorgeous purple ones, and then I didn't have a plan yet. This is a process video. I'm showing you how it works for me when I'm doing a specific thing. I took this container and I was thinking about what part of the shape would show if I used it on the front of a card. Another way to do it is to have a paper cutout and use it as a frame. I didn't like the rectangle. I didn't think that was what I was going to do. So then I'm doing the same thing with dies. Which die do I like and which shape or which part of the paint would I use? And again, these are just dried paint with some glue in them. And I'm experimenting with the size of the card and trying to figure out before I start cutting what I'm going to do. Because it's like when you have that one perfect piece of cardstock and, a pattern that you love, once you cut it up, there's no going back. So you don't want to be too paralyzed, but you make your plan. I didn't have a great sentiment for a sympathy card, and I looked at my stamps, and I've tried stamping on paint skins before, and I just couldn't figure out. I needed a card that was a little bit somber, but also very substantial. Not just, some printed cardstock, quick glued it together. So I was trying to figure it out, and I decided to go with Hello. And that Hello die is 2 layers so that I can bring in 2 different papers. And then, I'm more of a stars girl, but I thought a heart was appropriate, right? This is sort of a sympathy and encouragement card. So I thought a heart was the way to go. And then I was playing with the layers, and those are my hearts from BB Craft. And I thought I had it figured out. So this is what I thought I was going with. Then I looked around in my specialty papers. I edited all that out so you didn't have to watch me dig through. But I don't have a lot. I had mirror paper and glitter paper, and it didn't feel like a glitter paper kind of card. I don't think sympathy, you're bringing in that much glitter. And here I'm just trying to find a spot that I like. It's not that I dislike any of them, but some areas I like better than others. And this is a pretty thick paint skin. Oh, there was some paper, like tissue paper or that freezer paper stuck to it, so I washed it off because I decided I liked that spot better. I'm going back and forth, can't decide. Okay, picked one. Then what I do is I cut them down to size as best I can for the die and get it laid out. This is not one that's on a thin cardboard. This is all paint. So these are a little stretchy, and it's not even either. One end of it is much thicker than the other. So what I decided to do was get out the big bad boy die cutter for a couple of reasons. A, I have new plates for my sidekick, and B, I thought it would work better. It really didn't. Like, I'm looking at it and the stitch didn't go and it didn't cut. And part of it is because the Big Shot Plus or whatever, those plates are really bent. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to have to try it on my pretty blue plates. And I went back and forth, I think once or twice. If you have like hand or wrist or elbow problems, cutting paint skins is not for you because this takes some strength to get it done. This one worked better. I got a nice print. It's still a little gooey. It kind of depends on what Andrea uses in the paint skin. And then I just trimmed it down. I thought, okay, it got close enough. I love those stitched dies. They aren't as easy for paint skins for sure. But I liked it because it added some texture. You can still see it. And it didn't stretch out the paint skin too oddly. And I love the pattern that I got in the heart. I just think it adds some interest. And using something that people don't quite understand at first glance is a nice way to add interest to your card. Like if you use felt or you use fabric or you use a paint skin, it's just another bit of texture and interest instead of paper. And I had a little trouble. There's no right or wrong side, right? That side isn't shiny. This side is shiny. They were both pretty. I decided to use this shiny side because I thought it was more fun with the paper and it had a little bit more variation in color. The other side didn't have as much white. So here I'm experimenting and I couldn't really find the mirror paper that I liked the way I wanted to. And then if you saw my other video, I realized later I could have put alcohol ink on mirror paper and made pretty much any specialty paper I wanted because I have silver mirror paper. So that's for future ideas. Next time you can't find the specialty paper you want, if you have alcohol inks or alcohol ink marker refills, just make it. Okay, then I'm cutting the specialty paper, just running it through there, nothing exciting. Layering it up. You can see how frugal I am with my specialty papers. I try and cut them down pretty well. I don't get out my small scissors for it or anything, but I do cut them down pretty small. And this is a big die, so it took some muscle to do it. And this paper was from that giant, amazing garage sale. If you haven't seen that haul, look for a video in my stuff that says amazing garage sale. So I think this paper is from the UK because it's a slightly different shape, but it is amazing and thick, that purple dotted paper. I was trying to figure out my card base because bright white seemed a little too much. And this is a gray from Basil. I'm not sure exactly what color it's called. And it seemed a little softer and I liked it better just because the paint skin has some white in it, but it was just shockingly white on the regular card bases I used. And plus, it wasn't the mood of the card that I was going for. It wasn't supposed to be like a high energy, pow in your face kind of card. Does that make sense? So I adjust my papers and my envelopes and that sort of thing as I can. Because the die is a 2-layer, it's a hello, I was bringing in more interest. So I grabbed just a bit of mirror paper to give it that layering behind. And then I decided to go with white. And usually I don't, if I'm using all these mirror papers and specialty, I probably would have gone a little bit rowdier. But I think for this card, I wanted white and I wanted it to accent the white paint in the paint skin and just sort of calm things down. I didn't want another crazy paper in there. Sometimes I use printed papers to cut out my words. So like my die cut itself will be a fun printed paper. And for a different reason, I might have done that for this card. It would have been fun on a printed paper of some kind, just another layer of crazy. And there you can see, so it really makes the paint skin pop. But then I thought, okay, if I want a next level card that shows someone that I really cared and put in some effort, what else could I do? So I decided to emboss it. So I'm taking my Versamark pad and just smushing it down on that tiny white font. It's kind of dainty, so it's a little tricky to work with. And then I got out the big bad boy clear embossing powder. This is that chunky one. Came out, I think it was last year or the year before. Super chunky. My friend Noni bought the giant bottle and put some in a spice bottle for me. So that's why I don't have the actual package. Clear embossing powder would work just fine too. You just do it several times. You just emboss it, let it cool a bit, hit it with the Versamark pad and redo it. You get the same effect. In fact, you would get a little more shapely and polished. Shapely. That's a crafting word now. Look, does that make sense? Whereas the chunky glitter or the chunky embossing powder, it can come out a little bit messy looking, and that's okay. I wanted it to be bold and make a statement. Does that make sense? And that die I'm using, the Hello die, it is made in the USA. It is made by memoryboxco.com, and it is called Hello Jotted Script Style 94069. And I love this die. I use it a ton. I use it on all sorts of things. There I'm just cleaning up the edges and layering it up. I love to layer my dies, my sentiments, so that they're thicker and bolder. And this one just is set up to do that. And there you go. And I've done it with the the mirror paper being printed and the front being solid. My hair was crazy, wasn't it? Okay, and just using art glitter glue to attach it. Be careful when you're gluing on a paint skin because the skin isn't absorbent, so you need a lot less glue or it just oozes out. But that's okay. Art glitter glue is forgiving enough and it'll dry. Then at the last minute, I changed my mind again because I thought, oh, it's not quite enough. And I had a very big border of the purple dotted paper showing, so I brought in another layer of mirrored cardstock, which emphasized the hello. That's the joy of those dies with all those layers. And BB Craft and lots of other companies have them. Hearts, stars, circles, rectangles. They call them nesting dies usually. And they're great because you can do so many layers. Here I decided to go with the sort of gray. You can see I just whipped out my card base pretty quick. And then one more thing, right? One more thing. This is what I do when I make a specialty card for someone. It's just one more thing. You guys have seen me whip out like 50 cards in a day. And then this one, I don't know. The video is 15 minutes. It probably took me at least an hour to make this card. So I got out my Distress Oxides and just inked the tiny edge of the front cover. Just a little accent of purple on the edge. I love those fingertip daubers. I'm out of my freeze month, so I ordered some more of those on Amazon last night because I go to shows and I forget to buy them. Or I'm in a store, I look at them, and then I get home and I don't have them. So I just finally gave up and ordered some. Yep, that was my big splurge. I think it was like $10 or something. I ordered a bunch of them. The first ones I ordered said they were going to be here like sometime in November, and then my husband laughed when the email came and said, "You didn't order from Prime." So pay attention when you order. I'm just not a good shopper, you guys. I'm a crafter and I have a lot of fun crafting, but shopping is not my thing, right? I just like it when the stuff is in my room and ready to go. Okay, so then I just fiddled with it. I got too much glue, so I used my rag to take it off. I wasn't sure if on mirror paper, if I let it dry. I mean, art glitter glue is amazing and you can let it dry on regular paper, but I just wasn't sure if it would show. This bottle's getting low, so I'm working at it a little. The other thing is, when I got done with this card, I had so many layers and so many layers of art glitter glue. I probably should have used a double-sided adhesive on some of them, right? Because I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. It got a little, not curved, right? But it just kind of fought me. And when I put the card together and then I tested it to make sure it would stand up, it was so heavy on that one side, it struggled a little. I think it's cute. I like how it turned out, but maybe don't use 5 layers of wet glue on a card. I got wet glue everywhere, so I had to clean it up. And then here I am again, art glitter gluing it on. So somewhere in those middle layers, I probably should have just gotten out my double-sided tape from Tuesday morning or one of those red lines. That's probably where I should have used the red line tape that's super strong, right? When you're gluing paint skins, they're just heavier. There's a lot going on. And I wanted it to be at a slight angle, but I didn't want to glue the card closed because I was worried about the glue oozing out at the end. So I put an envelope in there and then put it on and scooched it down. And this part, I'm glad I used wet glue on because one of those double-sided tapes, you wouldn't have been able to scooch it a little and get it exactly where you wanted it. Okay, then I'm going to put a tiny bit of the purple paper on the inside just to finish it off. Snip off that bottom part. This is why my scissors always have so much adhesive on them, is because I glue things and then trim them. And what do you think? I hope that it brought the recipient some joy, and I think she liked it. She got it and she thanked me for it, and so I think she liked it. Then I thought, well, I mean, maybe a little bit of sparkle. So I went in and got some of those Queen & Company iridescent things, and they went pretty well with the paint skin because they had such a variety of color in them. So I thought that was good too. A couple of clears, a couple of purple, and there we are. We're done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Come back and see me again soon. I'll have some more videos this weekend. Bye-bye.